We often think of energy as something we get from, say, sleep or coffee. But what if there's a deeper, more natural source of vitality that we're just overlooking? Today, we're going to explore a powerful idea from the philosopher Bertrand Russell. It's called Zest, and it's a really practical way to push back against that modern feeling of listlessness and find a genuine enthusiasm for life again.
But let's start with a question, a kind of a puzzle that I think a lot of us have felt. Have you ever noticed that the harder you try to be happy, the more it seems to slip through your fingers? It's this strange paradox, isn't it? We have all these comforts, but that deep, satisfying feeling can still feel just out of reach. Well, according to Russell, the answer is surprisingly simple. He argued that real happiness isn't something you find by looking inside yourself. It actually comes back when you turn your attention outward. It's a byproduct of just engaging with the world. So in this explainer, we're going to cover what kills that natural energy, how we can start to restore it, and a really simple practice you can use to start shifting your focus today. All right, so let's get into this fundamental shift. We're going to start by really understanding the core problem that drains our energy in the first place, and that is the trap of getting stuck in our own heads. Russell had this idea that most of our unhappiness comes from a kind of disconnection. It's this feeling of being divided against yourself, or maybe feeling like you're pitted against the world, as if life is this constant battle you have to fight all alone. And that state of friction just constantly wears you down. And what's so wild about this is how much it sounds like today. Russell is basically describing what we now call rumination, that endless mental loop of replaying our worries and our anxieties over and over. When our focus gets stuck inside our own heads, our world just shrinks. And eventually, like he says, we find there's nothing interesting in there. It's a total dead end. So if getting stuck inside is the problem, what's the way out? Well, this brings us to Russell's really brilliant and super practical concept for getting our natural energy back: zest. The best way to think about it is this: zest is to life what hunger is to food. See, it's not some complicated philosophical state you have to achieve. It's a natural appetite. It's that feeling of just being genuinely curious and having a friendly interest in people and things for their own sake, not because you're trying to get something out of it. And this is such a great way to picture the feeling. Russell contrasts two ways of being. You can be like a hard, separate billiard ball, just kind of bouncing off and colliding with the world and other people, or you can feel like you're part of a great, flowing stream of life. Zest is that feeling of being in the stream. Okay, so if we want to cultivate zest, we first need to get really clear on the common habits and mindsets that are actively destroying it. Russell pointed to a few key culprits. Self-absorption, like we talked about, is number one. Then there's envy, which makes us feel pain when others succeed instead of just enjoying our own lives. Unhealthy competition turns everything into a win-lose game. Fear of what other people think, that keeps us from being ourselves. And finally, this constant hunt for bigger and bigger excitement, which just makes us numb to the simple pleasures. And this distinction he makes is so important. Russell said that not all boredom is bad. What he called stultifying boredom is that empty, restless feeling we get from endlessly scrolling or just seeking shallow distraction. But fructifying or fruitful boredom is totally different. That's the quiet space our minds actually need for curiosity and creativity to bubble up to the surface. One is like a poison, and the other is a nutrient. Okay, so we know what kills zest. Now for the good part. How do we actually get it back? Russell laid out a few key practices that are all about turning our attention back towards the world. The whole strategy is about shifting your attention outward. First, he says to cultivate wide interests in things that have nothing to do with your own personal success. Things like history or the stars or gardening. Second, develop a genuine affection and curiosity for other people. Third, get lost in a craft that requires effort and skill. And finally, build these small positive rituals that manage your energy. So how does this look in our day-to-day lives? Let's break it down into 3 key areas where this kind of outward focus can make a huge difference. In your work, or maybe in your hobbies, zest shows up as what psychologists now call a flow state. You know that feeling, right? When you're completely absorbed in a task that's challenging, but it's not overwhelming. Time just kind of disappears, your worries fade away, and the activity itself is the reward. That's zest. When it comes to relationships, the big shift is moving from trying to be interesting to just being interested. When you go into a conversation with a genuine, friendly curiosity about the other person, you not only build way stronger connections, but you also get out of your own head. And that, right there, is a massive source of personal happiness.
And finally, with your daily habits, the focus should be on building small rituals that restore you. This isn't about time management, it's about energy management. A short walk, taking a moment to really listen to a song, or just 5 minutes of reading. These tiny, consistent actions create a sustainable reserve of both physical and emotional energy. Okay, to pull all this together, here's a super simple mini practice you can try today. Anytime you feel your energy dipping or you feel your focus getting stuck in one of those negative loops.
Okay, so step 1, just notice that you're stuck. That's it, awareness. Step 2, pick one tiny outward action. It could be making a cup of tea, stepping outside for a breath of air, or sending a quick text to a friend. Step 3, as you do it, fully engage one of your senses for just 1 minute. Really feel the warmth of the mug, or look at the tiny details on a leaf, or actually listen to a piece of music. And finally, just notice the shift. It might be subtle, but you've just broken the cycle. And remember, this is not about achieving some perfect state of bliss. The whole point of the Zest Reset is simply to practice the skill of redirecting your attention. It's like building a new mental muscle, just one small rep at a time. So, to wrap this all up, Russell teaches us that happiness isn't something we just find. It's something we build, or as he puts it, conquer. It's the natural result of turning away from being stuck on ourselves and instead cultivating a wide, energetic, and friendly interest in the world and the people around us. And that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. What is one small part of the world, a topic, a person, a place, that you could become genuinely curious about today, just for the sake of it? That's really the first step to rediscovering your zest. And if you'd like to explore more ideas just like this one, our next explainer is ready and waiting for you. And you can find the entire playlist right in the description below.